Live. Oh, that's the applause, by the way. We had to make our own. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Johnny Beane. Welcome to Exclusively Van Halen, the Van Halen. It says the Weekly Van Halen Podcast. YouTube, Twitter, now known as X, Facebook. We are everywhere. You guys, this is the place you want to be. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. So we're going to talk some Van Halen. We have a special guest tonight. Besides Dane Zimmerman. Here we go. Oh, by the way, I'll play 2 channel IDs. Yeah. Okay. It's Ricky Rocket's birthday, and I've got a channel ID from him. So let's play that, and then we'll start the show. All right, you guys, smash that subscribe, smash that thumbs up. Here we go.
Hey, this is Ricky Rocket, and you're watching my buddy Johnny Beane right here on his channel.
Hey, this is Michael Anthony right here, and you are watching Exclusively Van Halen on the Johnny Beane TV. Keep it there. Woo! See ya!
Hey, what's up, dudes? What's up, you guys? You guys, happy birthday to Ricky Rocket, drummer of Poison. 29 years old today. Incredible. He's catching up to me.
You said 29?
Yeah, well.
He looks fantastic.
I know. Very nice guy too. He was very happy to do that channel ID for me at this year's NAMM convention, which actually is coming up again this January. So we'll be there. NAMM show. Dane, are you going to be there?
I haven't decided yet.
No.
They keep calling me up. You gonna go? You gonna go? We got your membership. It's going to run out. I don't know if I want to again.
Yeah, there's a lot of walking around. Let's see. We are live on Facebook. There we go. We got Facebook going on right there. Okay, you guys, this is the Van Halen videocast podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, Tuesdays, right here on Johnny Beane TV. We got, as we said, we got Dane Zimmerman. Welcome, man. He's working out. All the way from Arizona as well. We got 40 Grit. What's up, dude?
40 Grit.
What up? How's it going?
What up, man?
I'm off today, so that's why I'm here. So no,
very good.
Hanging out.
Welcome. And very special guest tonight, Mark Epstein.
I don't know how special I am.
Oh, man. dude, let me just say it's an honor to meet you. Thank you for being with us on the show today. I know you had posted in the Eddie Van Halen Facebook group some very cool photos with Edward. And I was looking through the comments, and there was a lot of people like, wow, this is awesome. I guess how did you meet Edward?
It was funny. It was back in 2001, and he was in New York, and we had some mutual friends, and they said, "Do you want to have dinner tonight?" And I'm bringing Ed Van Halen, and I was like, wow, that's cool. At the time, I knew of his music. I was familiar somewhat with it. I was big rock fan. Van Halen wasn't really in my top 10 at the moment. But I thought it would be, interesting to meet him. And we actually, it was at a time when he was not yet on the new tours, so kind of like Van Halen as a band was kind of in pause. There was discussions between him and Roth about getting together, but nothing had happened with a, reunion tour. So he was just kind of laying low at that time. And at the time, I didn't play guitar. The only thing I could play was the stereo. So there wasn't much I could talk with him about music. So we just struck up a friendship. I mean, we talked about a lot of other things outside of music, and we just connected.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So what year did you?
2001 is when I met him.
2001. Okay.
When I last saw him was 2015.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's 2001 to, I guess, it would be a few years before they would go on tour again.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that they did some tours. Well, hey, you guys smash that thumbs up and hang out with us for about an hour. Mark's gonna tell us some stories about his time with Eddie Van Halen. Let's say hello to the top tier of channel members here on Johnny Beane TV, here on YouTube. Channel membership, it's a way you can help support the channel and support these shows. The top tier are the executive producers, and they are currently CC, Stephen Franklin, Michael Smith, Music Therapy Lads, Sherman Callahan, 40 Grit, John Moronic, Majestic PB and J Cat, Guitar Man 45, Janice Lala, R Habs, Warlag, Patty Dill, and Fairfield Guitar Co. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much. We're live on YouTube tonight. We're also live on Facebook. Let's see, YouTube, Facebook stars. You can help support. We're live in the exclusively Van Halen group where Mark is now a member. 62,000 members in there. We're also live in the EVH Gear Fans Live group, EVH Gear Fans Live page, and the Johnny Beane TV group. And this is a podcast, so you can listen to these shows on Spotify, and actually everywhere. Everywhere there is, we're there. So wow, cool. So okay. So I know, Mark, you've got some photos that you want to show us, and we were testing out screen sharing. It was a little weird, and then I've got some photos.
Well, you want to show the ones that you pulled off that I posted, because I know they'll post real easy, and I'll sort of tell what's going on them.
Yeah, let's see. Where is that? Photos to show.
I would start with the early ones when I had more hair and I was thinner.
Okay, so here's this one.
Yeah, we were just goofing around at a restaurant in the city. I think that was the night that Valerie was, she was doing the Regis show. So he and Wolfie was about 10 years old, came in to the city, and we met them. They went to a show, and then we met them after dinner. There was me and about 5 other people. And Wolfie was sitting to my left, Ed was to my right. We were always goofing. I forget what he was doing in that picture, but we were having a good time. He was a lot of fun. He had a great sense of humor. Things you probably don't know about him that you wouldn't know from what you see in the press and everything else. He was a very affectionate person, more affectionate than most males I've met. I mean, when I greet my father, he'd give me a kiss on the cheek or something. Ed did the same thing. I mean, when he greeted me, he'd give me a little hug and it's a kiss on the cheek. And it wasn't because he was goofing around. I mean, he was just a warm, genuinely warm, affectionate person. And he was just a pleasure to be around. No negativity at all. He was very, very positive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember Wolfie was 10 years old. He was sitting next to me, and he was playing a little Game Boy. And I remember it had this little clip-on light. So when you're in a dark restaurant and no one's paying attention to you, you can see your screen. And he was very quiet. He didn't say much the whole night. And Valerie was very nice. She was, kind of quiet and reserved, but, she was sweet. And afterwards, we took a walk to one of my friends. His mother had a nice apartment in the city, not far from the restaurant. We took a walk there. We made ice cream sundaes. I think it was probably mostly for Wolfie, but we all enjoyed it. And we just sort of kicked back and talked. And I don't remember anyone talking about music or any of that sort of stuff. And Valerie made an interesting comment to me, which I'll never forget. And it just goes to show you how humble Ed was. And it was 22 years ago she said this to me, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And at the time, Ed's, life, he wasn't on tour or anything. So he was playing Mr. Mom. She was filming Touched by an Angel in Salt Lake City. So she was out of state a lot. So Ed was taking care of Wolfie. And she told me he'd bring him lunch at school and stuff like that, pick him up, playing like Mr. Mom. And said that, he doesn't really realize how big a superstar he is. And I'll never forget those words. It just shows, here's a guy who's probably, the top few rock guitarists in the world. And he's so humble, he doesn't even think of himself as a superstar. And in all the times I've known him, interacted with him, met him, he has never put on airs like that, never copped an attitude, treated everyone really nice. Just a pleasure to be around.
So you guys went out in public a lot? Like it looked like you went to dinner a lot.
Yeah, we did. We used to go out a lot. Sometimes in small groups, sometimes in bigger groups. I remember when he was in Long Island, and we were going to go to this restaurant. It was on short notice, and there was like 12 of us, and it was maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and I call the restaurant on a Friday night. I'm trying to get a table for 12. And they're like, you're on drugs. You'll never get a table here for 12. And I said, well, we kind of have a special guest with us. And they said, yeah, who's the special guest? And I told them, and they didn't believe me. They said, you're full of it. So I took them to, it was a steakhouse. So I took them to another steakhouse. And they said, yeah, no problem. And they rolled out a table, and I saw some people in the restaurant I knew, and they recognized Ed, but everyone was polite, kept their distance, and didn't bother us. But the ones I knew, I invited over to the table and introduced them, and he was just so nice. I remember we were in the restroom together. Nature Called, I guess, at the same time, and a guy walks in, and he recognized Ed, and I think he kind of timed his entry into the restroom because he was kind of stalking us. And he said, my son and I are such big fans of you. He would have a freaking orgasm if he saw you right now. And Ed just cracked up. It was the funniest thing in the world. And then at this other restaurant, we were all sitting having dinner. Again, it was like 12 of us, maybe more. And we're having a good time. And no one came over to him. It was a packed restaurant. And dessert's coming out. And they serve dessert to everyone. And before he takes a bite of his dessert, he says, got to get up. I said, where you going, Ed? And he gets up. He sits down at a little table no one was sitting there. And he did a meet and greet until everyone in the restaurant who wanted to meet him and get an autograph had done so. And it just shows you, the kind of person that he is, was. And that was just the way he was. Tell you another funny story. He was staying at a hotel not far from where I lived, and he went to a little music shop, picked up an electric guitar. I can't tell you which one, it was so long ago, and a little 10-watt practice amp. And we're in the hotel room, and he's playing away. And at the time, I didn't know anything more about a guitar from a violin. So I just remember being very impressed how his hands just navigated and flew up and down and shredded the fretboard. And he was looking really scraggly. Again, he wasn't on tour. He wasn't cleaned up. His hair was down to here, somewhat unkempt looking. And he said, I was just goofing today on the street. I said, what do you mean you were goofing? He says, I was going up to old ladies and saying, I'll play whatever you want for $1. And he was doing it. And, that's just his sense of humor.
Oh my gosh.
He loved people. He loved being with the public.
He was busking. Hey, Mark, can I ask you a question about that photo?
Yeah, sure.
Can I ask you a question about that last photo? Can you put that last photo back up? Does he have like dinner rolls in his shirt or something?
He put something in there.
Wearing a
I don't know what, but it was something funny. We were making a joke, and I don't know what he was poking fun at, but it was pretty funny. He was just, he liked to goof around, and it was just funny.
Mm-hmm. So
I got a lot of pictures of him goofing around, but a lot of them I'm not showing. we just had a good time.
So Mark, so you had said that you really didn't know Van Halen's music much, I guess, before you met him, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I knew a few songs. I knew Jump. I knew, Running with the Devil. My intro to Van Halen is kind of funny because I was at Northwestern University. It was my second year. I just moved into a fraternity house in 1978. Mm-hmm. And the person in the next room, the fraternity brother, he would get really wasted on Friday and Saturday night. And he would play Running with the Devil at full tilt. And I would wake up at 2 a.m. to hear those klaxon horns that they used to record that, beginning part, and then you hear the drum, mm-hmm. and then things would start falling off my walls. And I'd go into the next room and try and get the guy to lower the radio, and you do it for a second, then 2 minutes later it's back up, and I wouldn't get any sleep the whole night. And this would go on for like weeks. So now skip ahead to about 2001, 2002. So Ed was over, and I had a cassette tape stereo in the room. And I had this all pre-planned, and I had this queued up to Running with the Devil, and I had the volume turned all the way up. So all of a sudden I just played it, and the room was shaking. And he said, Mark, what are you doing? I said, getting revenge.
Well, I mean, what is it like? If you think back to, back when you've listened to Van Halen and whatever, and then becoming friends with Van Halen, but then again, I mean, he was such a normal person. Like it probably wasn't very, very weird. He
was, I mean, from the moment I met him, he was a regular person. When I went to the restaurant and met him, I thought, it's going to be someone, keeping his distance, some, whatever. But, I mean, he may be a superstar and I'm just, Joe off the street, but he was a regular person and he treated everyone with respect, and he valued, our friendship. I'm not going to misrepresent that we were super best buddy friends and we talked all the time, but, we talked at intervals and probably more frequently during his downtime when he was not touring. And I remember him one night we were talking, I forget who called who, and Wolfie was just beginning to show some musical abilities, and he was probably, I'm going to guess 11, 12, maybe he was 10. And he said to me, he says, Mark, I have Wolfie in my studio and he's amazing. And he kicks my ass. That was his expression. He kicks my ass. And then he was writing some song or playing some song, and he says, let me play it for your wife. So he puts my ex-wife on, I put her on the phone, and he's like giving her a private serenade over the phone. And it was hysterical. He wasn't doing that much else. So if I called him, I'd get him on the phone and we'd just sit and talk for a while about whatever. And, music really wasn't one of the topics because there wasn't much I could, I didn't know anything about the music industry or even playing guitar. I didn't pick up the guitar and play until about 3 years ago, mm-hmm. at the age of 60, 61.
Mm-hmm. And then Edward would gift you a guitar.
Yeah, he gifted me a beautiful Wolfgang PV. It arrives in the mail, and it's autographed, and it says love Ed Van Halen, and then a couple days later I get this big box in the mail, and it's a lucite case, and it had the little holder for the neck of the guitar and everything, and it was crazy. I still have the case, but I keep the guitar in its case to protect it, and I would put that up there, one of my most treasured possessions. I have no idea what its dollar value is. I don't care. It would never be sold. It's just very, very important to me. It's a reminder of our friendship. When I started taking lessons, I walk into the music shop. I go to Murphy's Music Shop, and I bring in the guitar, and I said, I want to take some lessons. And they look at it, and they say, with that? And I said, yeah. And they said, you're going to play that guitar? And I said, yeah, well, I figured I'll try it for 4 weeks. If I like it, I'll go buy a Strat. If I don't like it, I'll just put it back in the box. Well, I fell in love with playing the guitar immediately. I mean, I have no natural ability. I'm not a talent at all. But I loved it, and I got very excited about it. And I had sent a text. At this point, Ed and I were texting back and forth, and because you could text pictures and stuff like that. And I sent a text to him with a picture of the guitar and how excited I was. I was, now, picking it up. I wanted to play it for 20 years. It just wasn't the right time in my life. I had a child with a disability. He was growing up, and it just, that and work took a lot of my time. So I didn't hear anything back. And I later found out through a mutual friend in California who was also very close to Ed that he was actually in his terminal stages at the time I sent the text, and he wasn't able to text anyone back. And I was like, damn, that really, really sucks. I would have loved him to know that that guitar he gave me was more than just closet candy, and that I was actually, playing it.
Mm-hmm. And now you're taking lessons, and like before we you guys that are watching, we were here like an hour ago, Mark and I, and we were talking, and Mark, you were telling me that you're learning music theory, and
I'm in love with the guitar. It's a great outlet. I've always wanted to know how to play a musical instrument growing up. I tried the piano. I sucked. My brother was incredibly talented. I don't know why to this day he didn't continue it, because he would have been a masterful player. But it bothered me that, I was able to conquer so many things that I tried to do intellectually, but I was never able to make music. And this guitar that he gave me, actually, I probably would have never thought about picking up the guitar had he not given me the gift of music. And that has meant so much in my life. And I play guitar every day. My teacher, Dennis, he tells me I'm not a natural. And I say, I know that. I could have told you that. But I love theory. I love math, and math and music go together. So I've made an effort about compensating for my lack of technical prowess with learning theory, because when you go on YouTube and say you want to watch someone, play a song, and I gave Johnny the example before, Eric Blackman, who has a YouTube channel. He's really good at giving instruction, breaking down a song for a beginner like me. And the song was, it was Roundabout, which I love. And he's playing an F chord. And I'm like, what? That's not an F chord. An F chord is, first fret, first and second string, second fret, the third string, third fret, the fourth string. That's an F chord. But now I understand the pentatonics. I understand major and minor. I understand voicing. I understand you can play, a chord up and I can play a chord up and down the fretboard in any of the shapes, looking at the cage system and the difference between relative minor and major scales and all that has helped me immensely in learning and understanding playing, because I don't have the natural gift. I can hear when I'm out of tune. If I stray and I hit a wrong note in the pentatonic scale, I'll know it right away. But I don't have that Stevie Ray Vaughan ability to just know what notes to hit and how to do the phrasing. So I think theory for me has been incredibly helpful at accelerating my learning to understand and play the instrument.
Very cool. You know what I'm curious about? I'm curious about that Wolfgang. I wonder if that came from Ed, or if it's like a production model that he had sent, or that build sheet would be cool to see.
Well, I do have the paperwork in it. I'll have to go look at it. I do know that his guitar tech, Matt Brunk, tuned it up and got it, set it up for me beforehand. But I'm going to go look at the build sheet.
That's really cool to have a guitar that was sent to you from him and signed by. I can't even imagine how cool that would be.
Like I
surely
said,
one of your most prized possessions. So
it really is. I mean, my wedding band and the watch my wife gave me, that's number 1 and 2. The guitar's number 3.
Wow.
Well, I know a buyer in Phoenix. If you ever,
It's not for sale, and I don't care what the number.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Who's this?
Oh,
What's going on? The guy with the worst internet.
They brought in.
What's up?
She had this
Oh my
girl.
God.
Hi, this is Too
Hey.
Tall.
Right.
How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Johnny?
Hey, what's up, dude? What, dude?
Great.
This is Mark.
Dane's putting me to work.
Mm-hmm. You know 40 Grit, right?
Yep, Mark.
You guys have met.
what's up, man? How you doing?
Yep. Met him down here at the store. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rock Daddy here.
Yeah.
Dane makes me
Yeah,
work
Rock
when
Daddy.
I come down here. He doesn't let me loaf around, So, he's busy.
Rock Daddy is
Sorry,
he's a
Dan,
long time
conversation.
viewer of these shows, and he hangs out at the shop.
Very cool.
The shop over there. Rock Daddy, do you have any questions for Mark about Eddie Van Halen or about music? Oh,
I don't think
No,
you can
not
hear,
really.
Johnny.
I've heard much Van Halen. I watch all these shows. Everybody that does Van Halen shows and stuff and plays guitars like that and stuff, and it's just absorbed into my brain now. So I'm pretty stuffed with that. It's been fun though. Learned a lot.
it's
They hit it big when I was in boot camp. So Eruption came out when I was in boot camp in the Army, and everybody on the would turn all their boom boxes at night onto that one channel. We'd listen to Eddie playing Eruption over and over, and everybody's just dancing around and having going nuts and stuff. That was pretty impressive. So that's how I got introduced to him with that. That was a lot of fun. But between that and Blinded by the Light was the other big song back then. And they played that like crazy. And we never could figure out the words to that song.
Yeah, I still don't know those words.
Wrapped up like a deuce. I don't know
Van
what
Halen was
that really means.
just
Wrapped up like a
phenomenal. I was
deuce.
sitting
That's a deuce.
Wow. Who is
Oh,
it?
it's Deuce. Oh, I never knew.
Yeah, it's a deuce. Yeah.
I never knew what that was.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Hey, Mark,
that's
what's
how I got
your,
introduced to Eddie Van Halen? Was through the Barrack.
That's cool.
Mark, what's your go-to amplifier? What amp are you using right now?
Oh, I'm using a Bogner, which I absolutely love. I think it's a 3134. It's I think it's got EL34s in it.
Okay.
And it's funny because when I was a kid, I was a geek and I was into electronics. And I used to go to the TV repair shops and get the old chassis, take them down, break them apart, and strip them down and rebuild them as transmitters on the broadcast band. So I was like broadcasting radio shows back in the 70s. But I was running like 100 watts. I was like, FCC, try and catch me. And I thought when I got into solid state and integrated circuits, I was done with tubes. And then all of a sudden I get into guitars, and now I'm on these tube amp repair Facebook groups and designing tube amps and all this other stuff. And I can't believe 50 years later that knowledge is back. But getting back to the Bogner, I love it. It's a nice, clean sound. very quiet. On the green channel, you can barely hear anything, any hiss at all. The red and the blue channel sound real nice. It's a well-made, handmade amp, really, really clean. Before that, I had a Fender EVH 5150, which I bought because of, I figured my allegiance to Ed, I got to get that amp. I didn't know which amp to get, the 50 or 100. I figured 100 is better because it's more, but I was playing in a room about 8x8, and with four 12-inch speakers, I was blowing the roof off. The problem I had with the 5150 is after about 6 months, when I'd hit the low E string somewhere around G to A in that interval, I would start hearing ringing coming from the amp. I was like, what the hell is this? You ever hear this? And it's called a microphonic tube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I did a little tap test. I found 3 bad tubes. I sent the amp back to Sweetwater. It took them forever to fix it. They also found microphonic caps. They were using caps that were, poor quality caps in the design. I said, okay, this is a problem. Fender's kind of dropped the ball on this amp. They sent it back to me, played beautifully for a day and a half, and then it did the same thing again. So I called my rep up at Sweetwater, and I said, listen, I paid a lot of money for this thing, and I was without it for 3 or 4 weeks, and I got it for a day, and it's not working. He says, what can I do for you? I said, I want a Bogner. And it's a 35-watt amp instead of a 100-watt amp. It's 2 12-inch speakers, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I haven't used a 100-watt amp since 2014 when I gigged last, 2015. There's no need for an amp that big in the house for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this amp is...
50 watts are good, though.
Wait a minute.
I see 2 of them behind you, though, man.
Yeah.
40 grand.
On 11, stand in front
Over
of the
there.
stack, man.
Like I said, they haven't been turned on since again, Johnny. They haven't been turned on since 2014, 2015.
Oh.
What do you like to use in the house?
What do I use personally? I use my I've got a 50-watt EVH. The first, not the 6L6, not the EL34, and not the Stealth. I've got the Stealth back here that I just pledging my allegiance to Edward, as you said.
Yeah.
I've my allegiance is well known inside this room, but as far as like a go-to amp every day, my go-to amp is probably the 50-watt 6L6.
So it doesn't use 6L6. It doesn't use EL34s. What does it use as a power pentode?
No, it's a 6L6.
Oh, it's a 6L6. Yeah, that's
6L6.
That
Correct,
was a
sir.
common radio tube back in the 60s, and that was. I'll tell you, the 6L6 was the tube I used in my illegal transmitters. That was my go-to tube. But when they're a matched pair, they work really well as a Class AB push-pull amp.
So I assume if you're playing through a hand-wired amplifier, you're probably using pedal effects.
It's funny. I haven't put the pedal effects in yet because my level of playing probably doesn't warrant it. I have some pedal effects here. I just haven't hooked them up and played with them. I'm not sure at this point with my, beginner level that I'd really be able to get the most out of them, but I'm getting close to that point.
Did you happen to get any of those pedal effects from Edward?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Because I know a buyer in Phoenix if
You
you...
back?
So, Dane, welcome back. Rock Daddy, good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Dane is like, he runs
Daddy
a
helps
store.
me out a lot.
He's actually, his shop is open right now, so he has customers in there. He's selling guitars, all that stuff, right? Maybe.
Thing.
There's Dave's
Dane?
Guitar Channel. Yeah, I'm selling. I'm still open for another 18 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
What's the coolest guitar you have?
And I see.
Beane, what's the coolest guitar you have? Probably
Treasuries
that.
in red.
I could think of a couple cool guitars he's got. He's got a really cool Jakey Lee there. Did somebody buy the Jakey Lee, Beane?
No, I still have that one. Is my mic okay? Is it working? Is everything okay?
Yeah,
you
it's a
guys
little
hear
it's
me?
a little delayed. It's okay though. Are you on dial-up?
My internet is just really bad right now.
Yeah, that's okay, man.
Johnny, what's the coolest guitar you have? And you can't pick the one from your ASMR show.
I can't pick that one.
No, that's not
coolest. Well,
Yeah.
okay. I have maybe the Music Man. I have.
I would agree.
Mark, the guitar that you have, the PV, the PV Wolfgang.
Mm-hmm.
That was the second version of the Eddie Van Halen signature guitar. The first version was made by Ernie Ball Music Man. So the PV is kind of like a recreation. Actually, it is. It's a recreation. A friend of ours, Jim DeCola, worked for PV. He designed that guitar. But the first style guitar was called the Ernie Ball Music Man, and I have one of those, and I got it in 1992. So that's probably my best guitar.
That's for Ron Gunner right there, I believe. Is that the one for Ron, Dane?
He's frozen.
Hello. That's
How
the
far
one
is
that
he?
Ron once he was talking about that guitar. He said that he liked the cracks being a little
Actually, I have
wider
3
apart.
of them.
So okay, cool.
Uh-huh.
Ron, hopefully you're watching. Hopefully Ron Gunner's still here. There it is. He says, "Okay, there may be a cash transaction coming your way, Dane.
Oh,
I would only like 10% for the finder's fee and the communicator."
let me see. There we go. Yeah, Ron Gunner.
Ron, if you call me tomorrow, I'll take your card over the phone and ship it to you.
Or he could just tell you his
Okay.
card right now for this. Ron Gunner is here. Let's say hello to some people. We got Robbie Stingle. Robbie is here. Brian Davies is here. Hey, dude. William De Silva is watching us. Jeff Davidson is watching. Lewis is here. Chris King is watching us all the way from England. He's here. Zach is here. Andrew is here. Pooh Ninja, Edwin, Ryan. We got about 65 people watching this right now.
So Ryan's here. Hey Ryan, what's up?
So yeah, Dave's Guitar Channel is here. Dave, great to see you. Great talking to you,
Dave's
man.
Guitar Channel.
The
Hey, Dave.
606 is a Beane Power Pentode. I don't believe it's a Tetrode.
Who's that? Let's see here. Somebody had mentioned me and said, I love my 100-watt. Martin Hensley. I disagree, 40 grit. I love my 100-watt amps.
Okay.
And I'm not saying the 100 watts are bad. I'm just saying as a opinion, just like Mark was saying, having a 100-watt head in a smaller room just doesn't cut it because you're not pushing it enough. I can push a 50-watt head a little bit more in a smaller room to where I'm pushing the power amp a little more to where I get a little bit more better, sound out of it instead of trying to play my 100-watt and not even playing on number 1. You're just
Exactly.
pushing. That's a lot of amps there. So I'll never sell my 100-watt. I've got my white 100-watt right here, which I would never sell. I just had it serviced not too long ago. But, you never know when you're going to get the magic call from somebody you haven't talked to in 10 years and say, hey, we're getting back together and let's go hit a couple places in Temecula and gig. So that's what I'm waiting for. So.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Probably not going to happen.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Johnny, were there more pictures? Were there some more pictures?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Let's see. And I like the tube talk. That's interesting. I like the fact that Mark was doing like a radio show back in the day. Kind of like under the wrong button. Kind of under the. You said the FCC was always kind of. That's what we're doing here. This is a YouTube show, but we're pushing the limit of what we can do. Right, Dane? See, Dane doesn't even have real internet.
That is It's good. It's Quentin. Quentin James is in the chat.
What's up, man? Art Bell did the same thing. Yep. Art
likes
Bell.
My
Coast to
beautiful
Coast.
string wall.
He's got a great selection there, I will say.
Those
He's got a
are
great
nice.
selection there.
You know, correction. Back a second ago, I said the 606 was a power pentode. I'm wrong. The person who said it was a power tetrode was right. It's a tetrode.
Oh, cool.
I stand corrected on that.
Dave's
Yeah, they,
guitar channel has a lot of Marshall knowledge.
Yeah.
Dave knows
Yeah,
his Marshalls.
I was talking to Dave, Dave's guitar channel the other day. He knows a lot of stuff. Right on.
It's good to
Okay.
know a good amp guy. So because I got some really good advice a long time ago that the great thing about a tube amp is it either works or it doesn't, which is true. And the solid state amps, you have a problem with one of those, you're in big trouble because you really don't know what it is. And it's always good to have a good amp guy. And once you find your amp guy, you keep your amp guy, because they're very difficult to come by. And I don't live close enough to Dave Friedman to send my stuff to him, so I got a guy local here. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to have a great tech, whether it be a guitar tech, amp tech.
well, I'm a great tech, but I just can't work on amps that good.
You are?
Oh, I'm a
yeah. I don't know anything
fantastic
about
guitar tech.
I don't know anything
I am
about
the-
amps.
Give me a guitar. I'll make it play better for you. I know a good guitar tech.
Uh-huh. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. How are we doing on time? Okay. Okay. So let's see. What other photos? I've got Mark. Do you want me to show you the one? Do you want me to show the one I showed? The one that you're like, where'd you get that one? Remember that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is a great photo right here.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
This is, where was that? There was obviously like another restaurant.
Yeah, that was another. I'm trying to remember. I think that was a restaurant called the Garden Grill on Long Island, because I recognize the decorations in the back. I remember the owner, Gloria, had this. She had some little knickknacks by the bar, and one of them was an old-time little handheld movie camera, that had, I don't know, 8mm film. Must have been a zillion years old, and Ed was absolutely fascinated with it. And she gave it to him, and he was so happy when he left the restaurant. He had this little camera.
Oh,
Like
wow.
a vintage movie camera.
Like a brownie? I guess that's a photo.
I would probably
no, that's a
say
video.
like 1940s, 50s, 60s vintage, something like that. But it was just cute. I mean, it was like a big kid. Once at dinner in the city, he got up, he went outside. There's some street vendor selling cheap watches. He comes back in with the watch with like a 2-inch face on it. And he was just, fascinated by this giant watch face. The watch would probably cost $3. But he just liked little cool things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lewis just says is that Van Halen 3 era. I would probably, I think Mark said 2001 is when you befriended Ed, somewhere around there, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, say somewhere around 2001-ish, I would think.
Yeah, something like that. Or shortly thereafter.
And this was in New York?
That was in New York.
So it seemed like he came to New York
Yeah.
pretty regularly.
I got this cool note he wrote my daughter. I want to show you. Let me share. See if I can make this pop up.
Is that the one right here? I think I already have it here. Is that the one that's on like the stationery from the?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better.
Let's see if I get
Okay,
it. There it is.
there we go.
So my daughter was 13 at the time. She's 33 now. And he said, Amanda, when you turn 13, watch out for guys like me. Well, maybe not. You figure it out. Go follow your heart. Love, Ed. And I held it out for her because I knew she'd want it. So I held it for a number of years so that she didn't lose it. Then I gave it to her. And I just texted her right before we went live. And I said, Amanda, you got that note? Can you send it to me? And she said, yeah, no problem. Got it right here.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it says 01. So yeah, 2001.
Yeah, let me see.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that's cool.
I got a couple other
Wow.
photos. I'll show you us goofing around. I'll have to share this one.
All right.
Let's see. Share screen.
It was there. I saw it for a second. There it is. Okay. There we go. Wow. So that's the same one as this.
Yeah, similar. We were just clowning around.
Same day.
Yeah.
Same night.
We're just having a good time.
Wow. So yeah, a lot of restaurants. Like what? Do you remember what he would order? I'll tell you a story.
Once him ordering steak. I don't remember the rest. I got another picture here from Madison Square Garden, 07, I think it was. It's an interesting story with this.
Oh, cool.
So,
oh man,
yeah, that was Madison Square Garden, and I'm on Long Island, and he was playing in the city, and called me and said, "I'm having a problem with my ear. I don't know if we're going to have a show tonight." And I said, "Okay, keep me posted." So first person he saw said, "No, you shouldn't have the show." Second person he saw, he went opinion shopping. Next one, I guess when you're Ed Van Halen, getting an appointment with a ear doctor on the spur of the moment isn't difficult. And so he got like 3 opinions that all said cancel the show. The fourth one said, "Yeah, you could do it. Just put in earplugs." So we're backstage here, and he takes out these earplugs and he says, "Mark, check these out. I never wore these for a show before." And he says, "The guy I saw today says I got to wear these earplugs." So I'm sitting not up close, but not in the bleeder seats, but midway, and I had earplugs with me because the sound pressure at that distance was so bad, my ears were hurting. And he's up at the stage, and he normally doesn't play with ear protection. I'm like, I don't know how he does it.
So
yeah, I don't think Van Halen was known for a quiet stage. So.
Yeah, so it's funny. After the concert, I didn't get to see him to say goodbye because he got off stage and I wasn't all that close to the stage. So I'm on the Long Island Railroad. It's 1 a.m. I'm heading home. Everyone on the train was a bunch of old people like me, showing off their Van Halen shirts and all. Everyone on the train was at that concert. Okay, train was packed, and all of a sudden, my cell phone goes off. I look at it, it's his number. I go, "Hey, Ed, what's up?" He goes, "Oh, Mark, I'm sorry I didn't get to say goodbye to you. I want to make sure with the seats I got you good enough. Did you like the show? Blah, blah." But we're talking for like 20 minutes on the train, and everyone around has absolutely no idea.
No idea.
So
no
idea
awesome.
whatsoever.
It's awesome.
That's got to be such a cool feeling, man.
It was. When he played at Jones Beach, which was the last time I saw him, 2015. He was coming from the city. He played the Garden the night before, and I think it was easier to just see him on Long Island rather than traipse into the city again. So they had, I think, 4 tour buses. He had his, Wolfie had his, Roth had his, and Wolfie had his. So I was in touch with his coordinator, I forget his name offhand, to get the timing right so that I arrived there for sound check more or less on time when the bus got there. Well, somehow they must have made really good time on the Long Island Expressway because he got there before me. And sound check was already just starting. I get there, I hear them playing, and they were waiting for me. So I was there with my ex-wife, my daughter Amanda, whose note you saw, and her husband. They put us on a golf cart and they whisk us around to the stage, and there's like 20 people there at the sound check. The stadium's otherwise empty, and he sees us coming out of the corner of his eye, and all of a sudden he looks at me and gives me this giant toothy smile. And after the sound check, we hung out with him. Janie was with him, who I'd met previously, and we hung out for about 2 hours and talked. Took a few pictures. which was kind of nice. But we basically just talked, and then I had dinner backstage with some of the people there, and then we watched the show. So funny thing is, I post on Facebook that I was just backstage with Ed at the show, and someone I grew up with who lives in California saw the post and said, my brother, who I grew up with him, so of course I know his brother, trains him and Ed. So I go, all right, I put text back. I go, that's really cool. So Ed told me it was kind of late in the tour schedule, and he was scheduled for a break because they do that occasionally. He'll go home for a few days. And he had a Pomeranian that he absolutely loved. He said the Pomeranian just didn't do well on the tour bus, so the Pomeranian was home, and he missed the dog, and he wanted to see the dog. So he went home for the weekend. So Monday morning comes, I'm at work, and my phone rings, and my phone was sitting on the desk somewhere. So one of the other people in the office comes running over, goes, Mark, I think you better take this call, because it pops up. It says Ed Van Halen on my phone. And she knew that I knew him. So Ed gets on the phone. It's Monday morning. I say, hey, what's up? He goes, I got someone who wants to speak to you. And I go, who's that? He puts him on the phone, and it's the twin brother of the guy I grew up with, who is training him and Wolfie. He was over the house training them. And I hadn't spoken to him. This is 2015. They moved to California, I'm going to guess somewhere around 74, 75. So it's been 40 years since I saw. He was at my bar mitzvah. I had pictures of him and his brother at my bar mitzvah. I had pictures of them at my 4th birthday party. I mean, that's how long I know these people. And it was Ed who actually brought us back together. And then we had subsequently seen each other in the city when he's been in the area. So it's just, kind of cool how things go full circle.
It's cool.
That's such a cool to be reunited in that way. Like Van Halen, like you can't make that stuff up.
No, you can't.
You can't.
But that's the kind of person Ed was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. I think I have.
Everyone called him Eddie, but he liked to be referred to as Ed, so we always called him Ed.
Ed. Yeah. A lot of people because I do this Van Halen show, so I do have a lot of people reaching out to me, that knew him or grew up with him, and a lot of people that I talk to especially that grew up with him, they call him Edward. They always call him Edward Van Halen, but everybody knows him as Eddie. And can I show that photo? I have the photo of you two together from I guess 2015.
Yeah,
it's from that post.
I'm a lot lighter now.
Right
I was I was almost 240 pounds then. I'm 25 pounds lighter. But we that was the last time I saw him. That was when we were backstage at Jones Beach, and we both aging.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But a lot of great memories, and my kids all got to meet him and know him, and it was funny. My son, when he first met him, I think he was probably 4 or 5 years old, and then a couple of years later he saw him, and he got so excited he ran up to him and said, "You sing Jump."
Yeah, that's funny.
So are you really familiar now with a lot of Van Halen songs?
A lot more.
Do you have all the albums?
I have most of them. I have actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
This is kind of cool. When Ed would come out, sometimes he'd say, "Let's go to Borders." Borders had a whole music department, and he'd go in scraggly. No one recognized him. He'd buy all the Van Halen CDs, and then he just started autographing for people. He gave me some signed ones and messages inside them.
Oh wow!
Or I'm not going to read them all, but trust me, some of them are real. Some of them are very personal, but they're funny.
That's amazing.
And I got, they're all very nice, and they're very, very important to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. That's incredible. Yeah. That's so awesome that he would go into a store and some places people wouldn't bother him. Some places he would take the time to.
Yeah. It was
to meet
Father's
them.
Day, and I knew I was going to my brother's house, and I would see my brother and his brother-in-law, and I knew that they'd really love it if I came in with an autographed personalized CD. So he made a few for me. I brought them over, and it was funny. Once when we were in his hotel, and he was playing music, the same time he told me about it, I was playing music for old ladies on the street. My brother calls me on the cell. I said, hold on a second, Paul. Someone wants to talk to you. And he goes, who? I go, I just put Ed on the phone. He goes, hey, it's me, Ed Van Halen. And then the line goes dead.
Oh my gosh. So okay, so we got a few more minutes, but so Mark, so you had said that you would watch him play the guitar, like in a hotel room, like you would watch him play, and
Yeah.
and I mean, I see 40 grit, like Zims and I, we can't even imagine sitting across from him, just watching him play. That has to be such a.
I mean, from a foot and a half, I only wish I could relive what I saw, because now I could appreciate what he was doing. Back then, it was just his hands and fingers were moving very, very fast. But what I remember is he as he moved up and down the entire fretboard, he fretted every note with precision. And at the time, I just didn't know what he was doing. I would now, but I was just blown away by it, by his technical prowess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you weren't playing by that point?
No,
You
that
weren't playing
was
yet?
early 2000s. Yeah, I wasn't playing at all. I didn't start playing till, let's see, around 2020.
Oh, okay. So a few years.
Yeah.
A few years ago. Wow. Right on, man. Well, any last minute questions? I told Mark we do an hour.
I just can't imagine sitting in a hotel with him. Like,
yeah.
He's just like not, just sitting there watching him warm up, because it's probably just sitting there. I did hear an interview that said that it didn't matter where Ed was, he had a guitar with him within arm's reach.
Well, that's basically what it was.
I mean,
we were just sitting there talking, schmoozing about whatever. We weren't discussing music or anything, because, I wasn't like a rock groupie with him. If it was Mick Jagger, I might have been, but in his case, I wasn't. We were just talking about, whatever. And he had the guitar there, and he'd just be playing it as we're talking. And I think he did a guest spot on, what was that show, 2.5 Men or something? And he's coming out of the bathroom, and he's playing a guitar. And I mean, that was just so Ed. I never saw him do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wasn't, trying to practice or write anything or perform for me. We were just talking, and he was shredding as we were talking.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you too, really quickly. Like if you ever watch any interviews with him, like if you watch, he's the same.
He's the same.
If you're just hanging out with him, he's the same guy. There's no difference.
He is 100% genuine. What you see is what you get. There's nothing phony. There's no two personas. I'm fortunate enough to know a couple other people in rock music whose names you would know, not the level of him. It was funny though, when I first met this one person, I said, by the way, I've become friends with Ed Van Halen. And he said, they used to open for us in a certain concert they were at. And then I told Ed the story. He goes, yeah, a lot of people who said we used to open for them now open for us.
They open for us here.
I'll never forget that comment.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Wow. Dudes.
Actually,
Wow.
Lewis had a question if Mark had ever met Wolfgang, and he did. Mark spent some time with Wolfgang, right? With Ed?
It was, in the pictures that you saw where Ed and I were goofing around, Wolfie was to my left, but he was 10 years old playing a Game Boy. So, and then we went to a friend of mine's mother's house for dessert after. And then after that, I drove Ed and Val and Wolfie. Wolfie again was 10 years old to
Wow.
whatever hotel they were staying at. I forget. But that was when I met Wolfie. It was interesting. Wolfie was playing recently at the Paramount, a local club near here. And I had a connection to the club through a radio station. And I had told them, it was just coincidence that they were playing the day after I was there with this radio station. And I said, I told them the story about how I knew Ed. I said, if Wolfie's interested, I'd be happy to, catch up with him. And the message came back to me that a lot of people were reaching out to him, and it was still kind of, he was still, I guess, sorting emotionally to losing his father. And he just preferred people keep their distance. At least whether it's true or not, I don't know. That was the message that was given back to me. So, I just respected that. I would have loved to say, hey, I knew you when you were 10 years old, and I'm very, impressed how successful you are now. And I'm sure your dad, I know your dad was incredibly proud of you because he spoke of you that way, but, respect his privacy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But Ed, Wolfie was the apple of Ed's eye, the way he spoke about him, even as a kid, before he first went on tour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, you would when you were talking about when you saw Van Halen in 07.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Wolfgang was on bass. So for Van Halen. So
he was 14 then.
You saw him perform.
Yeah, but Ed told me that he was musically gifted somewhere around the time he was 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, now he just released his second album.
Yeah.
Mammoth 2. Very good. Cool. Okay.
Cool.
And any last minute questions? I told Mark we will do an hour, so you guys. Mark, I mean, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.
Coming on.
Thank you for being here. And this is a podcast too, so I have to have the cheesy applause. Let me see. Let's see. Actually, hang on 1 second. Let's say goodbye off air really quickly. Let me just say thank you again to our channel members. There we go. I think StreamYard's acting kind of weird tonight. Channel membership, thank you for your continued support for this channel and these shows. Thank you so much. And let's see. I will see you guys tomorrow from somewhere. And then, of course, I will see you guys Friday for talking Kramer guitars. And then Saturday night. And actually, Mark, you got to come back. We got to do like a tube amplifier, like show or something, because I'm
Sure.
really interested in that. That sounds.
I'm not an expert in tube amps. I mean, I was a hobbyist and a hack, and I was more interested in building transmitters than amplifiers. Well, I built linear amplifiers for RF, but it was just funny how I thought I was done with them 50 years ago, and now they're back in my life again.
Mm-hmm. Or the radio thing, doing the radio, that's very interesting to me. Rock Daddy, there you go. What is that? A
Johnny,
BC Rich? What is that?
Yeah, it's a Schecter, I think. Is it a Schecter?
New Guitar Day, just bought it.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Yep.
Oh, and we have a
Schecter.
giveaway to do. I totally forgot.
Just
you guys
bought
were
it.
giving. You just
No,
bought
you
that
can't
just
give this
now
away.
from there?
Yeah, I just bought it. Yeah.
Awesome. Tell
Christmas
Dan you saw it on
stuff.
this stream.
Actually, that guitar is worth quite a bit of money now because it's been on the Johnny Beane stream. So
Yes, that's right. Okay, I
y'all
totally
gotta
forgot.
sign
We
it
do.
now.
We
Okay. No.
okay. We'll sign that. We're gonna give away this Life Van Halen magazine here. So let's present. Share screen really quickly. Share screen. It's a giveaway.
I did not
tool.
see Holly Lewis in here today, but Holly, your poster's on its way as of this morning.
Thank
So if you rewatch it, your poster's on the way.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Okay, you guys. Okay, actually, we'll go ahead. All right, we're gonna spin for the magazine. Say something in the chat right now. Press a number, whatever you want to do. But let's get you guys in the chat. We got 53 entries. You guys ready? All right, here we go. Giveaway winner is Kubrick Lover 1972. Van Halen Life magazine, Kubrick Lover 1972. There you go. All right, you win. So
Stanley
give
Kubrick.
us, yes. Is that him?
Stanley Kubrick Lover.
Stanley Kubrick Lover. There you go. 415-952-3263. Send me a text message. Oh, there you are. I see you. You're in the chat. There you are. Yes, send me a message. You win. I'll get that out first thing tomorrow. There we go. Okay. All right, you guys. All right. Mark, thank you again, man, for hanging out. And you got to come back. Especially, let's talk about tube amps and radio shows and all of that. That sounds.
Mark,
that sounds
real
awesome.
quick, if you went to a Wolfgang concert, because Wolfie's out touring, would he know you and recognize you and invite you in? And...
No, he wouldn't know me at all.
Okay.
No, unless he's got one hell of a memory.
Yeah, because he was just a little tiny toddler at the time.
And that's why he was 10 years old.
Oh no, but you met him again when he was 12. You knew him when he was like 12, right?
No, I just saw him the
14,
one time when he was
14.
10. And when I went backstage at Jones Beach, everyone had their own like backstage room. And I saw Wolfie eating at an adjoining table when we were having dinner, but I didn't bother him. He was keeping to himself, so I just left him alone.
He just released a new song and a new video like a week ago, and it is awesome. It's his best song yet, best video yet.
What's the name of it? I'm going to check it out.
It just came out like a week ago, but I know that he's singing something like.
What's the name of it, though, Dane?
Saying something, the lyric, something about "so sorry." I think
I'll
That's
go
what
check it out.
he sings.
I'm all
in
right.
the-
In the chat. What's the name of Wolfgang's of their new single? See, if Holly was here, she would know, but she's not here. In the
I believe
chat.
it's "I'm All
Johnny,
Right."
have you
Is it "I'm All Right"?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
All right, or I'm all right.
It's really weird because I think Valerie is in it too. What happens is
Yes.
Wolfgang band, they are rehearsing, okay, because they have the Battle of the Bands at the Whiskey a Go-Go on a Friday. But
And also,
but Wolfgang
you-
Van Halen and his clones are in battle against his Mammoth band. And,
It's called I'll Be All Right.
So Wolfie, he sat everybody in his band so they can't show up. And so the band that gets to play is Wolfie on guitar, drums, and bass. So he's like cloned himself, and he wins the Battle of the Bands. And then his band finally shows up, and he's like, it's like, what is going on here? It's a great
What is
video.
going on here?
It is great.
You kind of have to watch the Mammoth WVH music videos in order to kind of understand what's going on in this latest one, because in his first couple videos, his band was like him. There was like him on each instrument because he played every instrument on his record. That's kind of what the thing is. So
yeah, and that's happening in this latest one. It's called All Right, or I'll Be All Right.
they're saying it's called I'm All Right.
Tell me again what it was called.
I'll Be All Right. Is what it's
Okay.
called.
No, it's "I'm All Right." It's "I'm All Right." And if you go back to watch the videos, if you're going to start watching the videos now, it's best to go back to the first Mammoth album and watch the video from the first album, which is
Well,
the one in 5150.
Distance
start
was the
there,
first one, and then the one after
then
that.
you'll-
Yeah.
But with regards to him cloning himself, the one at 5150 is where it starts, and then you'll understand the new video. It'll be easier to understand. So,
Right. Okay. All right, you guys. Mark, thank you again.
My pleasure.
And we'll have to do this again and do tube amp radio talk. You guys, thank you for watching. Smash that subscribe. We're so close to 10,400 YouTube subscribers. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, Mark, don't hang up. Don't hang up. We'll see you guys later. Here's a cool outro right here. Rock on, dudes. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Cody Van Halen, and you are watching Johnny Beane TV.